Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today we are talking about Salaam Bombay. Salaam, salute. And why someone decides to salute Bombay in a way which connects New Yorkers as well as many Americans to that part of India which requires special attention. And what is happening under the umbrella of the name Salaam Bombay? Many people are going to find that out on 13th October at Rubin Museum, but you are going to learn more about this organization right now in the presence of CEO of Salaam Bombay as well as board member, and I have the pleasure of welcoming both of them today. So first, Ariadne, Namaskar.
Welcome, thank you.
And with Ariadne, I have the pleasure of welcoming Aditi Shrikam. She is also a board member.
Namaste.
Namaste. I would begin with you, Aditi. How long is your association with Salaam Bombay, and if you try to define the basic goals with which it was initiated?
So my journey with Salaam Bombay started 3 years ago. Victor, who is the president of Salaam Bombay Children's Fund, introduced me to the organization at the first event at Christie's. And this is where I met Padmini Somani, who is the founder of Salaam Bombay Foundation, which had been ongoing with its initiatives for many years in Bombay. And there was an immediate connection. I've known Padmini for many years, and it really added legitimacy to the cause. And I went back to India, I looked at their programs, I visited the children in the slums, I went to the offices and really in depth looked at what the foundation was doing for children and how Salaam Bombay Children's Fund in the United States would be able to raise money and awareness for these children's programs. And this is how I got involved, and each year we have more and more children participate in the programs. I think what really stands out is that Salaam Bombay, the core of the program and initiatives is that you're able to empower the children. You're able to give them life skills and motivate them so they remain in school and they're able to continue with their passion, enthusiasm for life when they move out. And most of the children are from slum families, they're migrant families, and they need to support their families, they need to work, and it's an easy drop to drop out of school and find some labor, and these programs help them to remain in school.
So it helps them remain in the school, and it also brings to our attention how we all are interrelated. So those who are living in whatever part of the world, if there is an area that is facing these kind of challenges, group of children especially, how someone from America would go to India, see the kind of work that Salaam Bombay is doing, and that is the first-hand experience of Ariadne before becoming CEO of, or rather accepting this responsibility. She flew to India and she got a chance to see the program. So let's just say the camera is following you. You are now in Mumbai. What do you see there?
Yeah, I had just an amazing experience there in Mumbai. I went to every aspect. In fact, I extended my trip several days, 1 day and then 2 more days, because there was just so much to see. I actually went into the schools. I went into the children's homes. I followed several children, kind of a day in the life, from their homes to their school, and then back home, and met with their families and saw the labor and the different things it took for them to really just survive the day. So I really I saw how important it was for these children to be in our programs. Not just to be empowered to get an education, but be empowered to choose a life for themselves, to be a child and to have a childhood, and just like our children, these children desire to have a childhood where they can go to school and they can have food to eat, and they can help their families survive, and then actually have a future. As Aditi mentioned, many of the children just drop out of school. And just go right into labor, and from a very young age, 13, 14, and that's the rest of your life. So the children in our program really have an opportunity that they just cling to, and their families are just so thankful. They brought me in their homes, and they were just so thankful that we would create such an opportunity and to give their children such a hope. And I think when it started off with dealing with the issue of tobacco use, which is how our program started off years ago with Padmini in this area, I think what she saw is that these children wanted more than just to drop out and go into the labor force, and so they really were able to then to go to school and. I'm sorry. They were so the children then are able then to continue in school and to get better programs from us and to get other choices, just like your children and my children. They have choices of going into a sports academy or a dance academy. We have media academies and different things that the children can do. And so it's an encouragement to stay in school, to get educated, to do other things, to have a childhood. And then we added another component, our skills program, which is just a few years old. And as Aditi mentioned, that's where they're getting a skill to take in beyond their education, going into further into their life. So it was really an eye-opener.
Yeah. So I want to come back to you and maybe get into some of the more details. But Aditi, there are a couple of programs which are undertaken by Salaam Bombay that, as she mentioned, includes skills for life through athletics and art, and there is one advocacy training. If you talk briefly about some of these programs, and also there is a group of children, they come under one program, or all programs are applicable for same group of children?
So all the programs run in conjunction with the kids when they're in school. Permission is taken from the school, from the headmaster, that they're able to enroll in these programs. There are so many children, and we do have limited programs, and this is the reason why we want to raise awareness and increase our funding so that we're able to support every single child who wants to be in the program. The academies offer programs: dance, music, performing arts, cricket, hockey. So the children in these programs, they have these specialized programs where they're great instructors and they're able to learn skills while they're in school, and these skills give them an extra dimension where they're able to uplift themselves when they go back to their homes and feel passionate about something, whether it be cricket or whether they learn the Kathak dance. They're able to take this back into their community and add some joy in their life, whereas when they would go back, say, to their slums, and they would face reality, which is, a really small one-bedroom house and a family that has to support 4 children. This enables them to dream, to think bigger, to be able to visualize that them staying in school is propelling them forward for a better life with better choices, so that they're able to uplift not only themselves, but their family, their siblings, and their entire community. The skills program is a specialized program which, say, mobile repair, where you're giving the children a specific skill set where when they go back home, they can, maybe go to friends, they can go their parents, and they can help, fix a cell phone. For example, hairdressing, they can practice on their siblings, their friends. They're able to use these skills and see how that could help them later on when they move out of school and into the real world.
This sounds so good, actually, and it's unbelievable in terms of the detail with which Salaam Bombay has conceptualized these services. When you were there, Ariadne, in Mumbai, and probably you got to see some kids maybe dancing or playing, and there will be some kids who have been a part of the Salaam Bombay family for a couple of years. So what kind of response in terms of the benefit that they derived by being associated with it that you heard from them?
That's a good question. I was looking at the programs to decide whether or not we were going to have a partnership, if I was going to come on board as their CEO. And so I wanted to see the long-term effects of the program. I did attend many of the academies, the school programs from the start to several children who've been in it many years. I met with about 20 children who were actually going to the university, going to college, who have been through our programs completely. And I asked them, how can you afford to go? And they said when they were going through the program and they were learning these skills, we also helped place them in jobs and employment, and they saved some of their money so that they can help to go. And so that was the most touching moment there. And many of those students have now come back and are volunteering in the program. So it's come full circle. And that was just so impressive to see how different they are from the children that are first entering. I could see the children who are first entering are very timid and eager, but shy in a way, and just the way they're carrying themselves. And these children now that are in university, they're very similar to you and I. Their confidence is just overflowing. And they're so sincere about helping other children build that confidence to get through and to get through their education and to actually graduate from school.
Many of these programs are parallel to the vision that we hear from the government, and especially there is a special, maybe there is a ministry, or there is a lot of focus on skill development in India, Make in India program and all these things. So Aditi, anywhere you see there is overlap in terms of coordination with government agencies and what Salaam Bombay is doing in Mumbai?
Well, the Salaam Bombay Foundation, as Ariadne has mentioned before, had started initially with tobacco awareness, and the programs were at a ground root level where Padmini started with trying to get the children to shun tobacco and to be aware that tobacco use was very prevalent in these communities of marginalized children, where they would hook onto tobacco as a means when they went home, when they were out of school. And they really worked with the government to get an anti-tobacco movement where you were not able to sell tobacco at the stall, which was outside the classrooms or outside the municipal school building, where they would not be available for these children to purchase. And as it started through that program, the foundation realized that while getting these children to be aware of better and healthier choices, it was important to give them something else, to be able to offer them opportunities to be able to better themselves with programs and skills which could be lifelong. And this is how, working with the government in these municipal schools, the program has flourished since it started.
So these programs need sustenance on continuous basis, sustenance in the form of the funds, and Ariadne is credited for having raised millions of dollars for many not-for-profit organizations, over $200 million every year, that kind of amount. One thinks, do people have that much compassion? Is economy doing so well that people can, I know it is much more than $200 million because there are many charities and many people are contributing. But I just wanted your input on in what way people feel assured and confident about an organization. So from that particular point of view, what would you like to say about Salaam Bombay? These are, like, as a layman, what I hear the terms like administrative cost and what is contributed, how much is actually reaching out to the beneficiaries?
Yes, that's a good question. So if you're looking for a cause, and one of the reasons that I chose Salaam Bombay as my future home is because 100% of the donated dollars go directly to our children's programs. We have a foundation in India that supports our overhead and our operational costs. You don't often get that kind of opportunity.
Absolutely.
So we don't have any overhead costs, including my own salary is supported by our board and a foundation out of India. So all the dollars are 100%. They go directly to the children, and that's amazing. Another thing to look for, as you mentioned, and things I looked for when I was philanthropic over the years, is what's the future of the organization? Is it sustainable? Are they doing things so that they are going to be here in 10 years, 15 years?
Absolutely.
One of the things that's fascinating about Salaam Bombay, is that we are training. We work with so many other NGOs, and we're training teachers. We're training staff from other NGOs. So we have so many partnerships over in India that are also, extending farther and farther for the reach for these children, which is really the most wonderful thing. There are lots of organizations, as you can imagine, both in the U.S. and abroad in India that are trying to help the children there in many different capacities. One of the things that's really fascinating about Salaam Bombay is that we really target this gap of children that's kind of not getting as much attention as it should, and that's about a 13 to 17-year-old age gap. When the children are first coming into schools, there's so many organizations that help children get into school and get nutrition and get them there. And then at the other end, there's many organizations, both in the U.S. and in India, that are helping children when they're 16, 17 and have dropped out of school to get a skill, to maybe go and get a job that they can work. Salaam Bombay really keeps the children in the school. They really take the children and get them educated so that there are a higher level skill and a higher level job. And as I mentioned earlier, getting these children to go to university and to graduate high school and go to college is the most amazing thing. And we are doing that with our organization, which is the most impressive to me.
So Aditi, I want to salute Padmini and Victor. You mentioned these individuals' names. They thought that there is a need and there is a way to reach out and help. And I also see that there are English language skills for the workplace. That is also a part of it. And there is leadership development. So when you work as a team to do more than what is already being done, from that point of view, your experience of being a part of Salaam Bombay, what would you say about what you individually, personally has learned through the experience of giving through this structure of Salaam Bombay?
So I think our family really supports the community where we live, and while we're here, we're trying to be an integral part of the community in the United States, and we also are very compassionate, as India has been our home, and we feel that, in deed and dollar both, we want to support India. We want to support the children from my hometown, which is Mumbai. I've grown up. We have slums all over the city. It's one of the best cities to live in, but it also has a lot of children there who don't have equal opportunity and who don't have the means. And this is a way for us to give back, to really raise awareness that there are opportunities for us to have a lot of boots on the ground in India to support these children. And if we raise enough money and awareness in the United States, it's going back directly to the kids, to their families, to the slums, and uplifting the entire community. This is not a program where you're only trying to look at the child. You're looking at their holistic development, and they're citizens of the world and our future, and we want to make sure that the children of the future have these skills so that they're able to move the country along and have a better place in the world.
So these words are like music to my ears and to your ears also, because ultimately it is the harmony in the world and goodness. How goodness is related to money, this side as well as that side. Ariadne know very much more about that. So let's look at it from the point of people who are coming to contribute. Let's say we're talking about 13th October event that's happening here. And then in your personal experience, have you seen that people pay a lot of attention to the cause or to the place, or they pay more attention to who is the one that is actually doing this work? So if I may add, some people think would probably be contributing because Ariadne is there, and if her presence is there, it is a kind of seal that the things are undertaken in the fair and right way. I mean, it could be some other name also. So ultimately it is the person-to-person contact or the cause.
I think it's a little bit of both. As you mentioned earlier, I've been in this field for almost 30 years, and our company got to a point where we were raising about $200 million a year across the U.S. for many at-risk families and organizations. And I think most people in philanthropy kind of have a target of that. My target's always been the at-risk child. I have 2 adopted children myself from an orphanage out of Russia, and eventually started my own nonprofit working with those orphanages. So for me, that was the target of understanding those organizations. So I think the donors that are now supporting just my role here also contribute because of that experience and because of that knowledge of, where does this money go when it's outside of the U.S. and what are the programs really doing and who is it really affecting? So I think it's both of those things. As Aditi mentioned, there is a very large population of Indian families here in the U.S. Just in the last couple months, I've probably met 60 or 70 different families who have all said, we're so thankful someone's on board here in the U.S. because we want to help back, especially in Mumbai. What can we do? And many of them, once they go back to visit India at different times with their family, they do stop in and see our programs, and it's exactly the way we say it is. And so that also gives their support just from being there, and also being able to trust somebody on board that has been doing this work for a very, very long time and understands how those operational structures need to be put in place. So.
Aditi, tell us a little bit more about the 13th October event, when an event of this kind is planned, and of course people are coming there pulled by the sincerity of people and the cause, yet it's an evening and people want to be engaged in an entertaining manner, along with a little bit of more enlightenment about Salaam Bombay. So what's happening on October 13th?
So October 13th is our 4th annual gala, and really the goal is to get like-minded individuals with philanthropic intentions and also love for India and the community and for children to come there and celebrate the cause together. And we intend to raise money. We have a goal for the year. I think Ariadne can speak more to that. But we really want it to be a community event where we can get like-minded people and also raise awareness. I think we're glad to have Ariadne on board now with us, because we want to really propel this forward, and we see a great future for Salaam Bombay Children's Fund. Would you like to speak on that some more?
Yes, so we have, I came on board just a few months ago, August 1st, and I was looking at how many children are in our programs now and what we need moving ahead. So our goal this year for the end of this calendar year is to put another 1,000 children through our programs. It only costs about $250 a year for a child to go through our program, which is very inexpensive. And because of that, our goal for this year is 1,000 children, which is $250,000 by the end of the year. I think we already have about 616 children that have gotten through our program. And so we want to finish that off by the end of the year. As Aditi mentioned, as you said, our gala is October 13th at the Rubin Museum in New York, which is really fun and targeted to our audience. And we're really hoping by the end of that night that we will get that extra plug to get the rest of those children through this year.
Beyond politics, beyond the lines drawn in the name of religion or whatever way we make our groups and feel that we are confined, the beauty exists, and people who have practiced compassion in action, they experience that beauty, and that comes from the eyes of Ariadne and Aditi to us today in this conversation. Thanking you, both of you, for being with us. With lots of good wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanking all of you for joining us. This is Ashok, Vyas.